especially to the lovely ladies over here, the Florance crew.
Just got a little Sheila one because I liked her, but I arrived at a party at the Andrewartha one night in Carlton and I caught a tram to it and I can't remember why. It was summer and I can't remember why that because I always drive, but anyway, I caught a tram and I was really hot and I think Yenta handed me the champagne as I walked through the door and I said, oh, better have a glass of water. And Sheila was sitting at the other end of the dining table, all dressed in black, with this marvellous jewellery on, and she just looked magnificent. And she lifted her head up and looked at me and said, water? Darling, fish piss in it.
Thank you for sharing that extra one there. Now, just before we go on to the cards, because I know you worked with her a fair bit, Lisa, did you have a little Sheila memory you wanted to share? Don't make us cry.
Oh, no. So I was 20 when I started on Prisoner. And my first ever memory of Sheila Florance was walking into the green room on my very first day. A real greenhorn. I was terrified, and because I watched the show, I was a fan, and I walked in, and I was early, because first day, to make the right impression, and I put my bag on a chair, and Sheila was sitting there. I put it down, and I sat opposite her, and she said, "Oh no!" She came in and she said, "Oh, that's a lovely bag." And I went, "Oh, hello, yes, thank you. Would you mind removing it, please?" Elspeth sits there. And I just went, "This is Florance, and buggered off over to the other side of the room." So that's my first story of Sheila, and then there were some times when I got to drive her home to St Kilda and I met John, and those were the days, when but it goes in a blur, it vanishes in a blur when you're doing a series, and because I'm older now, things don't spring to mind as much as they used to, but I do remember driving her home to St Kilda, and we did have a lovely chemistry on the set.
Yeah. Yes.
Because obviously Maxine had a bit of an interesting voice. Do you still have Maxine's voice in there somewhere? Give us an yeah.
So someone has asked me to do.
I must be psychic or psycho.
Psychic. Of course I can't find it now, but
Thank you.
oh geez, I've slipped me back. That'll be good for a couple of days. Sicky,
Well done.
Thank you. That was me.
Oh, that was
Lovely.
you.
Thank you so much.
That's our first question card done there. Alright, I think we'll shuffle down, so we'll come to the man himself, Kevin. Actually, I don't know if you did notice, you are actually the only man on the panel today.
I am the token male, I do know.
He's a star.
Thank you. Yes, well, that's the question here. The highlight. Well, there were so many, over so many years in prison that I narrowed it down to three. One was shooting Ray Marr. I think I deserve a lot of credit for that. Because he was pretty nasty, and I don't think you ever you heard the shot and then saw me putting the gun back in the holster. Ray did go on to rather good things after that, I believe. The second highlight, I remember it anyway, was when I was molesting Anna Ruby of the Anna and Peggy Wilson, and trying to impose myself upon her. And she did have a time to have a hot iron in her hand, which was my misfortune because she didn't burn my arm. And I always remember that, and I just consider Anna was a lovely person. The third one is really very much a personal reminisce, and that is working with Gerda Nicholson. And I can say this because I'm old enough to say it. My wife isn't here, but I was a little bit in love with Gerda. But I reckon just about every bloke who worked with Gerda was a little bit in love with her because she was just a very, very special person. So I guess you put them together, it's a very strange trio, but Ray, Anna, and Gerda are very, very special highlights for me.
Roro, we'll come down to you next.
Well.
Is that water in that glass, or is there something else in there you shit there? I'll tell your Barry on you.
Tasted his water.
So which one of your questions are we going to go with?
Well, what was my favourite scene from Michael McAlpine? My favourite scene from Prisoner was any scene that I wasn't in. I could watch it, and I can't watch myself. Oh God, no. Oh no, because it always looks wrong. I'm so, what's the word? I can't think of the word. My memory's going.
Barry said average.
I am very average. My memory is extremely average. And I can't watch myself. So any scene in Prisoner that I'm not in was fantastic. I loved it.
You still look as beautiful as you always do.
Yes. My question is, what is your fondest memory working on Prisoner? I don't know who asked the question.
That was me.
Oh, that was you?
That's lovely.
Look, I can't possibly make it one singular thing, but if I think about it as an overarching idea, I think of the incredible privilege to be involved in a show that made history. You really can't go past that. Particularly because it was all women. Sorry, Karen. Sorry, Karen. But that's why there were so few men paired. So I think probably for me that was a great thing, and it's remained a tremendous, not so much a memory but an opportunity that allowed me to think about myself as an actress in another way other than somebody's sidekick or somebody's wife or somebody's girlfriend, which I've never actually played, which is a blessing. I probably would have killed them anyway. So many memories, but also the women who I've remained friends with by virtue of that show, which there's a legion of them, and you don't have that on every show. So I feel very grateful for that as well. Thank you for the question.
Stay down the end here for a minute, and she'll be down to the other end in a moment. Victoria, my darling.
Hello, should I stand?
There's no squares to turn. It's not Sale of the Century, love.
Why didn't you tell me before I came?
I know I forgot something.
The question is, any cast member, if you could have played, any cast member, if you could have played any role on the show, which character would you have liked to have played? Mine. Thank you very much. No. No, I took this part because I'd been involved in a game show which was never on the cards for me. I was never going to go into something like that because I always thought game shows were a bit, well, not meaty enough, let's put it that way. And there I ended up, they asked me to audition for Sale of the Century, and so they asked to bring bathing costumes, so I took it neck to knees and set the whole thing up gutless. Because I did the audition, because you don't say no to brumbies, you go and do the audition. But they gave me the job anyway because they thought they wanted something madcap. So I did that. But then when I got Prisoner, what it offered me was an opportunity to play something with a little bit of depth in it. And it was quite a challenge for me because, you know, you had the group of criminals, as you were, and then you had the screws, And even with that system, there was a hierarchy. So playing with Maggie Kirkpatrick was probably the greatest saviour for me. She was so generous and kind and supportive. But playing a part where you admired the person you're working with and then having to fear that person was a big challenge for me. So it gave me an ability to have a bit of depth. And then they put a relationship in there and a whole bunch of stuff where she was threatened and the family was threatened. So it kind of, brought me back to being able to spend some time finding the levels of the character and getting back into some acting. So I was really grateful. I don't think I would have chosen another part, but that's a very heavy thing to say. Thank you for the question.
And come down to the end of this panel of wonderful stars for a moment and see. Well, I'm going to see you, Jen, because Des is having a gas bag over there.
That's typical.
I know. Jen, my darling, here you go.
Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, we're having a little affair here. I've got two questions here.
Gorgeous.
I've got two questions here, and I think I can answer both of them at the same time. Okay. So one is, Jan, do you prefer acting or casting future superstars? Now, who asked me that? Someone's just made it up. Maybe I wrote that to myself. It looks like I did. Okay, nobody's going to stand up for that one. The other one is, Jan, what about a potential artist inspires you to cast them? So, okay, do I prefer acting to casting? I loved acting. I've been doing it ever since I was a little kid, and I went into musical theatre and then into television and film and did a lot of that. And it was when my marriage at the time was breaking up, and I thought I can't continue in an acting job, I've got to do something else, I've got to look for something else. And I went into casting side of things, which was at Crawford Productions. I started off there, and then I was poached from Crawford's to go to Grundy's to do Prisoner. And so I do love both genres, but I think with casting and what I loved,
Hello, everyone. And this is where comes in, the theatrical comes in, where one can project, which so many young actors cannot do these days. Okay.
Dramatic pause.
Did I say that?
You bloody turned it off.
I just wanted to let them know I could project.
Yeah.
Okay. But the most important thing about all this was with casting Prisoner was, I think, one of the most exciting things that I have done. I mean, all right, I spent 26 years, not 24, 26 years with Neighbours. Casting Prisoner was the most exciting thing I've ever done, because it was an all-female cast. And it was wonderful to cast true, and I mean true, actors in those roles. They were true actors, and that was the exciting thing. I mean, the different thing with Neighbours, a lot of them had a lot of experience. But these actors, I'll include Kev in this as well, and some of the other males who did join the show for a little while, they were there, I suppose. But it was wonderful to cast these amazing female actresses, to give them a chance to really show what they could do, because as I said before, they were cast as wives or nurses or doctors or receptionists or secretaries or those sort of roles. But this was a show that they could really all get their teeth into and really develop a strong character that really made an impression. And it certainly made an impression on everybody here. All these amazing actresses that I really revere, and I'm honoured to be here with them all, and I just love them all. They're all absolutely amazing. And that to me was absolutely the joyous part of my life. I've had a few other good things happen too. But that really was exciting, and it's amazing after all this time to catch up with everybody again and find out what they're up to and what they're doing, and to see you all here showing your respect love and honour to these fabulous, fabulous performers. Thank you.
Just in regards to neighbours and Grundys overall, I'm pretty certain, I know this is a huge majority, of the panel, raise your hand if you were not had a role on Neighbours. I don't know if any of you...
I didn't
I
cast
had a
my
feeling it was
daughter.
only going to be 2. That just shows you how Grundy are loyal with their actors on that side as well, is they do keep them in roles as much as they can. Des, I'll give you the mic for the next question.
Thank you. I've got 2 lovely questions. One was, what was my favourite moment? I pretty much enjoyed everything. I mean, I love that camaraderie, and we did have some boys, and I had Michael there, who I absolutely adore. But that camaraderie with women in the green room, and just the little, I don't know, girly things, which sounds a bit dicky, doesn't it, really? But, you know, just those things, just being in a group of girls and talking about the boys who we had there blended in. I particularly loved outdoor scenes because I like to be outdoors myself. The scenes on the wattle were lots and lots of fun. Like, that was almost like getting on a school excursion for the day and going out. Like, if you got a scene like that, that was pretty good. The scene with the gun where I was held at gunpoint, I have a phobia of guns, and they kept showing me the barrel. There's no bullet in it, and this and that. And then the final one, I think the whole stress of it got too much that I actually just fainted.
Oh.
And the director said to me, "Oh, that was really good," and I was like, I'd say it was just a lot of anxiety and not breathing properly that finally, you know, it was probably my best acting, but wasn't really acting. And the other, I need to know who wrote me this beautiful question. Was it you, Peter?
No.
It says, Desiree, you should be comparing your own TV show. Is that something you've always wanted to do? Well, can we have a collective manifestation of this for me? I would love to do that. I love chatting with people, and I love talking with people, and I love seeing people happy. So if I could do that, I would be very happy myself. Thank you. Thank you.
Picture it, 2025. 2010 Viewers Morning Show. Desiree's Daily.